Courage and the boldness that you gain after speaking affirmations over yourself. The more you hear it, the more you believe that it's true.
And welcome to Premier Fitness. I'm Gene Williams, your yoga instructor, and I'm here to tell you about the benefits of yoga.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. You have just tuned in to Where is the Love? I am your host. I am Stephanie Hawkenhall, and I'm going solo today. My sidekick ain't here with me today, but we're gonna make it do what it do. So we do have a guest today, but first I want to tell you how you can watch us, how you can tune into this show. So you can tune into this show by watching our YouTube channel, Love Misunderstood Institute, or by watching Gene's YouTube channel, Premier Fitness 0210. You can also watch us on TV. Yes, I said TV. You can watch us on Roku. You can also watch us on Amazon Fire. All you have to do is go to those and search POD TV space LIVE and watch us live while while the show is airing. Also, you can watch us on the website podtv.tv. So catch us on any of those platforms. If you are watching us on TV, of course, you can't talk to us. But if you are watching us on our YouTube channels, you can make comments, talk to us, ask questions, whatever you have, we'll get back to you. So last week, or on our last show, Gene and I talked about seasonal depression. So if you want to see that or want to hear what our discussion was, go back to episode 66 and listen. Yes, I said episode 66. This is episode 67. And our special guest today is Terry Terrell. He is going to introduce himself. So he is a therapist, and Gene and I talk about therapy and encourage therapy when you have experienced difficult situations, trauma, bullying. So now we have a therapist here that you can ask questions. So make sure you comment in the comments box and we will get back to you. So now I ask my guest to come on the stage, introducing to you Terry Terrell.
Hey, how you doing, Stephanie?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm blessed. I can't complain.
We are excited to have you on our show. I just wish my sidekick was here.
Yeah, that's unfortunate he couldn't be here today.
Yeah, we clown and laugh all the time, and people say, y'all are so silly. We have a lot of fun because we've been bullied so much. So again, thank you for joining our show. You're welcome. Tell us about yourself.
Well, my name is Terry Terrell. I also go by Terry Talks on some platforms. I do a lot of speaking engagement, mentoring. I am a therapist in the Wichita, Kansas area. I am a trauma-informed therapist. I work with families. I work with individual therapy. And I've been in the child welfare system for almost a decade. So I've worked in the child welfare department for like almost a decade in different areas. So preventative services, keeping kids in homes, FCT, a family-centered approach to therapy and mitigating some of the concerns in the home. And I've done reintegration in homes where putting kids back into homes after they've been removed and stabilizing foster youth. And so I'm also launching my own practice, Odyssey Counseling and Consulting, LLC. you can reach me at honestycounselingandconsulting.com. And so when I get everything up and rolling, I'll be sure to make sure that I reach out to everybody that leaves their email.
You want I'm sorry, I forgot to get this. But do you want your website to scroll across the bottom of the screen?
You can, or we can just leave it in at some point. It's not a big deal.
Okay,
I will repeat it at some point.
Okay, tell me what it is again. I got Odyssey.
Okay, Odyssey Counseling
Okay.
and Consulting.
Okay, I got it. Okay, if I can spell consulting. Again, we are happy to have you here, and I meant to get that information before we started, and I didn't. So we want to make sure, Mark, that's it, and just add .com. So Terry, what made you get into this? What led you to become a therapist? What transpired in your life that made you want to do what you have been doing?
I think there's several events. I've always had a heart to serve people. I've also had a very big interest in why people do some of the things they do. Everybody on my mom's side of the family is pastors, preachers, and then everybody on my dad's side has had some rough times. And so I've been on both sides, and I've had some pretty good life experiences that have kind of added to the substance of who I am. So I think along the way, I started as a single father. I was working a job. I was doing consulting. Well, I was doing drafting design work, and I hated it. I really did. And I said, I know this is not what God put me on earth to do, is to sit in a cubicle and design things all day. I just really had no interaction with people. And I really just wanted to kind of engage. And I know he had more for me.
Yeah.
And so, like most of us, my prayer was, God, I know that you provided a very good income for me and my daughters, but I know this is not what you have for me. And I know there's more that you have for me. So in that prayer, sometimes he doesn't answer it the way that you think he should. And a couple of days later, I got called into the office and got laid off.
Wow.
So in the process of that laying off, they actually structured a package that allowed me to go back to school full time.
Awesome.
And not have to work. So God is good. He works in very mysterious ways. But sometimes you have to have the effort and the energy to ask for what you need and a desire to go get it.
Wow. That's very interesting. And you never know how things, when you pray, you never know how things are going to turn out. But just praying, you're saying, okay, I want whatever, God, I want whatever you want from me. Because, and so we open up the path, for him to respond to us and give us what he wanted to give us, because we're willing to receive.
Absolutely.
So that's awesome. So I heard you say, about your mom's side and your dad's side. So you had to kind of, in your life, have you found yourself trying to balance the two out in your life?
Well, before I had kids, I was quite the knucklehead. I was quite mischievous. I got myself into quite a bit of stuff, I have those that advised me, but sometimes you have to go see things for yourself. Sometimes that wisdom does not always sink into that thick head, but I'm thankful that I have people praying for me and I was able to come back around. I think in school, the middle school to high school, I really kind of had some behavioral stuff and they put me in classes. And I think they do that to a lot of our minority youth is whenever there's some behavior issues, they assess that there's a lack of intelligence and then they just put them into a class where they don't have to deal with them. Yeah. So I was one of those ones, and not till I got into high school did I kind of see that they kind of put me in some classes that made it really kind of, for me, it was relatively easy. But I didn't even know how the system was working. And so only after encountering a young lady that was kind of mocking my situation, did I kind of find out that I wasn't even in regular classes. And so, from there, it was kind of like, I'm good enough. I can be in there. Why are they in there and I'm not in there?
Yeah.
So, when I went to talk to my counselor, he did not share that same that same desire and view for me. And so, when I went back, he was saying, well, your grades aren't that good. I would hate for you to be disappointed. I think you should keep working on it. So, I went back, got straight A's in the classes, and then I went back and said, hey, so here it is, straight A's. He's like, I think you still need to work on some things. I don't think that'd be a good fit for you. So at that point, I kind of got my mom involved, and you already know how that ends when you get your mom involved, and she fight for you. She believed in me, and she went and talked to him. And shortly after, they moved me out of the class into a regular class where I just kind of really excelled, and I was at the top of the class as far as the grades. So it was right there where I started getting a better understanding that you have to figure out who you are and why you're driven. Because for me, it was, you told me I wasn't good enough, and the system put me in a place where I was comfortable and they didn't really ask much from me. But once I understood that you didn't think I was good enough, and, it was kind of that fire, that competitive spirit that I have.
That's good. So you found yourself labeled. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then when the girl brought it to your attention, that's when you found yourself labeled, and you're like, hold on, wait a minute. That's good. So when we are able to see things and realize realize the truth of the matter of whatever it is, then we realize, okay, I got a choice. I can stay where I'm at, or I can do better. I can stay where people think I should be, or I can advance and be somewhere else. Right. Make life better for myself. I don't want what they're giving me. um would you, Odyssey, are you spelling it Odessey for Odyssey Counseling and
No,
Consulting?
I'll put it in there.
Please, thank
I'll
you,
put
because
it
I
in there.
mixed it up. So while you're doing that, if y'all have in audience, if you have any questions, please ask questions. Put them in the comments area, and we will respond to those. And you will see the website scrolling across. Make sure you go check out the website and see, talk to Terry, call him and talk to him and see how he can help you. So, what inspired you to become a social worker or to get into that field?
Well, I think social work, is just, again, another label. I think it goes back to me having a heart to serve people and having the right things instilled in me from
Yeah,
grandparents, being in the church, faith, and then knowing the right things to do. And I think also my own situation, understanding that I was labeled and put into a place, and all I needed was encouragement and somebody to believe in me, kind of gave me a drive to say, you know what, I think there's other Terry Terrells out there that are labeled, that have more in them and more to offer and give than just sitting in a classroom being complacent. But until we as adults are able to recognize that and reach back and offer something to these kids, they are going to sit in places where comfort zones, as well as sit with the labels that have been attached to them. So
yeah,
as far as a social worker, I think it's always just me having a heart for people and moving in that direction. And at certain points when I was working in different departments, I would ask people, well, what are you doing? What do you do?
yeah,
Because I was starting to see people with different credentials, and some of them were happy and some of them were not.
yeah,
So I was like, well, what do you do? And then, some of them were LMFTs, so licensed marriage family therapists, and then some were social workers.
yeah,
And what I was starting to see is, the social workers were able to kind of move more laterally in their positions instead of being kind of pigeonholed to certain positions. And this isn't everyone, but certain positions. Same. So social work really kind of allowed me to kind of go if I wanted to work in the schools, if I wanted to work in a clinic, if I wanted to work with the hospital, I could. It offered me that leeway to be able to do that
Yeah.
versus just being stuck doing therapy. Originally, I was going to pursue a PhD in community psychology. The problem I had with that at that time, it didn't offer the opportunity to do therapy. So I felt that was kind of strange to have a PhD and not be able to do therapy.
Yeah.
So just being around people, I feel like it wasn't just an accident, but it provided me opportunities to kind of see what I wanted to do. And social work kind of allowed me to grab onto that vehicle and accomplish what I want to with people and the families.
That's good. I want to go back to something that you said earlier. When it came to the girl and how she brought it to your attention, and was teasing you about the class you were in. Think about the list of the different types of bullying
Mm-hmm.
that I shared with you. Did that list surprise you of the things that are considered as bullying?
No, no. I've actually thinking back on my first time being bullied. It's probably middle school, and it's funny how you ask your kids, "What did you tell them to do?" and they're like, "I don't remember." But
Yeah.
if you put their favorite song on, they can remember every single lyric.
Yeah.
It's funny how the body keeps memories of their. There's actually a really interesting book called "The Body Keeps the Score."
I have
And
that book.
it is a very good book.
Yeah.
But going back to what I was saying, I was being bullied at the time. I think it was elementary, and it's strange to be able to think back that far. But I can remember the very incident where there was just a kid that was just always harassing me and knocking my books down and just really making it hard. So I went through depression, which sounds strange to even comprehend that an elementary kid would be able to grasp that complex of emotion. But
Yeah.
I was depressed. I didn't want to go to school. I didn't want to engage really, and so it really started kind of affecting me. And so
Yeah.
only when the opportunity presented itself, where I stood up for myself, and we had a physical altercation, did I actually kind of get free from that. But some kids never really get free from that, and they carry that with them.
And so, one of the things that I've learned from what you just said is them carrying that with them is because it never was addressed. So it becomes a trauma, you know,
Absolutely.
that they carry on. And then other things start happening in their lives to add on to the trauma that they've already um, what's the word that that's already incurred in their lives. And so when I think of it, I think of it as like a snowball, being small
Yeah.
and rolling down a hill and getting bigger and bigger the farther down it rolls.
Hmm.
So how, as a therapist, what's your way of handling a situation like that? If you're aware of, like, use your story as you just shared it, how would you respond to that now for a kid that's going through that same thing? How
Hmm.
would you respond to that? How would you help them deal with that?
I actually did have a kid during a family therapy session, kind of revealed because they were kind of wondering why his moods changed,
Yeah.
why he was having such bad mood swings, he wasn't engaging, and everything changed. And they could really put their finger on why he was acting the way he was acting. And so, I was asking questions. So that's one of the things is first, if they don't trust you, if kids don't trust you, they're not going to open up. They're
I
not
s-
going to share whatever the issue is. And
Yep.
sometimes as parents, we get really busy with our lives, our work schedules, and the things that we engage, even taking them to practices and things. And we get so busy that we forget to kind of check in with them.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a situation where the young man had some things that were manifesting in school was carrying over in home. And what it was is he was being bullied in school, pretty consistent,
Yeah.
taking his food, taking his lunch, those type of things. It's usually some of the same characteristics with bullies. But we started asking questions, and because I had built a rapport with him and the family, he was okay divulging that to us in a session. And the parents was like he never said that to us before. Like it was something that they were kind of in awe.
Yeah.
But because I built that rapport, he was able to kind of divulge that. So really, without a bond, kids are less likely to kind of reveal the things that they're kind of dealing with, whether it's at school or at home.
Right. And I tell people that all the time. You have to watch their behavior changes. That's how I noticed, Gene, when he was, experiencing bullying, he was coming home, with his head down and looking sad. And, I had already built a rapport with my kids, hugging them and telling them I love them all the time. I mean, from them being infants in my arms, looking in their eyes when they couldn't even tell me, that they love me back. And so because I had built that trust and was always asking them what was going on, at one point they called me 50 cents asking how questions, especially when they went to college because they both went out of state. So they was calling me 50 Cent.
Awesome.
So I was like, listen, I'ma ask questions. What was it, 50 questions or something like that, that song that he had.
Yeah.
But so I did that while they were growing up. So when I asked him, what's wrong, and he told me, the kids keep being mean to me, because that was in the early 90s, and so he was telling me the kids keep being mean to me. And I said, tell the teacher. And he said he's doing it too. So I'm like, what? I mean, my heart fell. The person that's supposed to be protecting you when you're not around me, you're under his care, because it was a male teacher. You're under his care, and he's supposed to be protecting you, but yet he's being mean to you too. So, but I tell people, you have to watch the behaviors. The behavior changes. You have to ask questions, but you have to take time with them before, that incident, because kids don't want to be labeled a snitch. They're scared to tell you because they don't want you to go to the school or go to the bully and say something, because they're afraid they'll get bullied even more. And so, building a relationship and having conversations and telling them to put the phones down and let's have conversations. I mean, and just out of what I just said, I think about people sitting at the table having a meal, and kids are everybody's on their phone. Well, where's the conversation?
Well, not at my house. We don't. At my house, we actually eat, and there's no tablets, none of that. And I think you said several things, and I want to touch on a couple of things.
Okay.
First of all, the importance of actually sitting down with your kids and actually having a meal with them. You will be able to find out so much of what's going on in their little lives. And I think because we're so caught into what we're doing as adults, we don't even, we don't have time to listen to kid agendas. And so sometimes I just come home and, I have a huge coloring book with my 8-year-old, and I just get down there and color with her and say, hey, well, what did you learn today? What happened today? And you'll be surprised. Kids will share things with you that you didn't even know. Yes. But you have to make that time with them. If you don't have time invested, then you won't be able to pull back from what's actually going on in their lives, because you have not made the investment in their lives.
Right.
So you said something else about the bullying. You said the teacher was a male. And I think there's a certain element with males that's reinforced, that be tough, no crying. It's a very toxic type of way of dealing with emotions. And men are really kind of taught to kind of push the stuff inside and deal with it. And if you become too emotional, then you're a sissy, you're a punk, you're all these negative things. And it really is causing a lot of our men, even from the young age, to grow up not knowing how to express their emotions.
Yeah.
So now he becomes a grown man, and you're asking him what's wrong, and he doesn't know how to articulate to you, because he's never been put in a space where he can actually share that, where he has
Right.
not been ridiculed or belittled or all the other negative derogative things that are attached to someone. That is kind of bullying.
Yeah.
It's a bullying element. It's a bullying
Yeah.
element. So
Yeah.
that, and then also I wanted to talk about the kid. You talked about how the kid and the adult are doing it, but
Yes.
sometimes I think that because we get so frustrated with the other kid, that we don't realize that that kid actually may be duplicating something that's going on in the home.
Yeah.
So that kid may be getting, and because it's affecting our kid, we don't really care. We want to mitigate the issue right there. And we
Yeah.
don't care what else is going on. But sometimes that other kid that's put in a position to be a bully is really duplicating things that are going on in his home.
Yeah.
Maybe he's seeing mom get beat. Maybe he's being left alone. And then the only way that he can really kind of outlet is by kind of hounding your kid, really kind of a cry for help.
Yeah.
But I think all of that has to be paid attention, because it's a really complex web of interactions and relationships
Yeah.
that you really have to kind of dissect and see what's kind of going on. And unfortunately, a lot of our school systems, public school system, lack the funding to be able to address those type of issues.
Yeah. I agree. So going back to the males and the emotions, not being taught not to share emotions, or not to show emotions. Gene and I have been talking about that on our last few shows, and so I know you know about this too. How the older boys or men punch young boys in the chest. Man up, man up. Yeah, you know about that too, don't you?
Yeah, I've had it done to me, and I've also been a part of that,
Yeah,
that type of mindset. And I think a lot of it is try to toughen the young boys to try to get them ready to deal with the world that doesn't really want to hear their issues or problems.
yeah,
But I think in the process of that, we have to kind of understand that how it's really kind of dealt with is out of love, but it's also a lack of understanding of who that male is and what he's trying to articulate to that young man.
yeah,
So that's where I think it gets lost, because I have conversations with my sons as well. And I explain to them, you know what? It's okay to cry. It's okay to cry and have emotion, but you can't cry about everything.
yeah,
There is a point in time where you have to have some toughness about you and be able to push through. And I think because we have a lack of articulation in the male space, we're not really able to kind of grasp those complex emotions that have been built up, like you said, in young men that have
yeah.
become older men that haven't had the space or the safe spaces to have those conversations.
So how old are your sons?
My oldest son is I have five kids. My oldest son is 15, and then my youngest son is 12. And so the 15-year-old gives me the blues sometimes, and I've had to learn how to have conversations with him despite my feeling of being spited
Yeah,
about his actions.
yeah,
And so there's a certain maturity that I've had to come to as a father and able to implement fatherhood in a responsible way. And mind you, I have all type of training and degrees, and I have all these teach these classes, but nobody's going to push your buttons no faster than your kids.
I know.
They know the cheat code to really get underneath your skin.
Yeah,
And that's where the work is really done, is when you learn how to deal with your own version of kids.
yeah,
Some other stuff that I learned, I had to implement it in my own home before I come and sit in front of somebody and say, this is what you do. This is how you do it. Because kids as well as adults are able to look and see a phony.
yeah,
Kids can smell a phony.
yeah,
And if you're trying to preach something to them, and this is the case with some of us as parents, is we preach something that we don't model.
yeah,
And so the kids are listening to us in church say all these great things about God and how good people are. And then they hear us come and gossip
yeah,
about that person or they hear us do something that's dishonest, and they're like, this
Yeah.
dude's fake.
Yeah.
And they
That's-
lose respect for you.
yes. Yes, absolutely. Because you've given them mixed messages. You're saying one thing and doing something else.
Absolutely.
And that makes me think of I was talking to a lady at work today, and I was telling her, um, I was telling her how, with me talking about bullying, I can't just talk about it. I got to be about it. In other words, you know what that means. But I was
Yeah.
telling her, I said, in other words, I can't just say, something, you need to speak up for yourself, or you got to speak up for yourself, or don't let people insult you and humiliate you. That's bullying, and I can't just say it and not speak up, so I'm
Yeah.
telling you to speak up and don't let it happen to you. But then I'm not speaking up. I said I have to practice what I preach. And so I was just telling her I'm in a better place in my life now than I was years ago, because I'm more confident, and more able to speak up to whoever it is. And in this case, it's my boss.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't matter who it is. Now I can speak up. But before, I was a people pleaser and thinking if I don't, speak back to them or snap back or whatever, they might like me. But no, it don't work like that. You have
Mhm.
to open your mouth and tell people and build boundaries. Don't talk to me like that. You can't
Yeah.
treat me like that. If you want me to respect you, respect me, but you have to open your mouth and say it. So I was telling her, I have to do this. I can't just teach it. I have to do it.
You have to walk it.
Yes.
I think you talked on something that's really important, and that's the ability. First of all, I don't think proper communication skills is just taught. First of all, it's not taught in schools and it's not taught at homes. And
Yeah.
so you have a lot of dysregulated adults that are trying to teach kids how to stand up for themselves, but they won't, like you said, they don't know how to stand up for
Yeah.
themselves. And
Yeah.
so we enter spaces where we're duplicating things that were taught to us into our kids, and then we wonder why we're having some of the issues that we're having. It's funny, just like when you've been around the system for a while, you see a lot of patterns. And so one of the things that I've done with some of my families is called an eco map.
Hmm.
No, it's a genome map. And what we do is we do about 2 or 3 generations of that person's family, grandpas, uncles, aunts, anybody that's married into the family, kids. And we talk about who are these people? What are their character traits? You can say what you want as long as it's true.
Yeah.
And then we kind of label those things. What is their drug addiction? What is their drug of choice? Are they married? Do they have more kids? And we label all this out. And then afterwards, we look at it from our version, and then we start connecting the dots. What are the things? This person has a drug addiction. Oh, look at that. It's also here. It's also here. And here we are dealing with this in our family. And so at that point, I'm able to show them patterns of behavior, patterns of drug addiction. And then I challenge them and say, what do you want to do differently? What are you trying to break away from in your family? Or are you trying to continue this pattern? Like, does this continue to go down
Yeah.
after you and your kids and your kids' kids? Or do we make a stand and we actually start trying to implement some things that's going to put us into a healthy space and do something different and break some chains off our lives and off our families and create a legacy that of healthy relationships?
That's good. That's good. I like the idea that you do that. So you see, letting them know you see the pattern here. I mean, now the choice is yours. Do you want to change it or do you want to stick with it? I
Yeah.
mean,
And by default, when you don't change it, it goes on anyways.
yeah. Yeah, I put a post on social media in the last few weeks that said something like, if you don't deal with trauma, it's transferred, not transformed.
I like
You
that.
Yeah. So it said something like that. So when it comes to bullying as an adult, what bullying from, just thinking about the list of the different types of bullies, what have you experienced as an adult?
As a young adult, even now, up to now, I still consider myself a young adult. Um,
We
my
still
kids,
young.
my kids say different.
Yes, of
But
course we do.
yeah, but one of the things that I remember quite intently, because again, the body remembers trauma. It
Yeah,
remembers bullying. It remembers those things with those type of negative emotions. Those are really strong. I remember working at a consulting agency. This is that good job that I had, and I was the only minority in probably there's probably about a handful of minorities in the building. And I remember, there wasn't very much movement, but I would get up occasionally and go walk through the building to give my legs, a little walk or something, and then come back, or I go to the bathroom or something. And I remember that I got called into my boss's office, and what was being said is, they didn't understand why I was all over the building, or why I was leaving my desk so frequently. And at first I was just kind of like, maybe it's a misunderstanding. But then as it kept going on, I kind of realized nobody else was having this issue, but except for me. And it was really hard being in that position as a minority, and unable to have anybody that could be an advocate or that knew culturally what I was dealing with. I mean,
yeah,
this was something that I fabricated. This was because he kept calling me to the office. So about the second or third time, I said, you know what? I think we're asking the wrong questions. I think we need to ask, why are they so focused on me, and
yeah,
why are they so focused on what I'm doing? I
yeah,
mean, have they seen me do something dishonest? If that's so, then that can be addressed. But why is there all this focus, and why am I having so many conversations about me getting up and walking? And so I was able to articulate myself at that point, which a lot of people aren't even
yeah,
able to, or they don't feel like they have the tools to be able to do that to somebody who has the authority over them. But I was
yeah,
able to kind of articulate my position on that. And he said, you know what? He said, you're right. He said, I'm gonna look into that. And then when he came back, like I talked to him like a day later, he said, you're right. I told them to not worry about what you're doing, and to focus on what they're doing, because
right.
apparently they're using too much time of theirs
Watching you.
watching me. So um, so that was a win for me, because I was able to articulate myself as a minority, as a black man in a space that was very oppressive at times. And some of that is some of that is bias that
Yeah,
people have. However, whatever you want to label it, I'm the only one that felt it,
yeah,
you know. So for them, they were not used to being in space with, minorities, without them dictating the terms of what happens.
yeah,
And so that was a time that I remember, because when it happened the second time, I went home and I prayed, and that was a hard time for me, because I couldn't understand why I was being targeted like that.
yeah,
So I remember that very intently. And so as an adult, I've had situations like that, but because I'm able to articulate myself better in those type of situations, I'm able to kind of have boundaries, you know what I'm saying? And
that's
that's where the biggest part of it is boundaries.
yes. Yeah, that's what I was talking about today, creating the boundaries and being able to create the boundaries and not feeling bad about it. Because that was something else that I did. If I was able to create the boundaries, then I feel bad because now you're looking sad or whatever, and controlling me with your emotions, which is an emotional bully.
Yeah.
So now I'm giving in, and and not sticking to my boundaries, because I don't want you to look pitiful. I don't want you to be sad. I don't want you to be mad. So, just beat up on me basically is what I was, welcoming, but I didn't understand that. Um so
Boundaries are so huge. Boundaries are so huge. I wanted
yeah,
to give an example, because when I'm talking to some of my clients, we do have issues where they have family members that always try to that can be oppressive, that can cross bounds. But until you put the boundaries up, and an example I love to give is, imagine a house without a fence. You can approach that house anywhere you want to.
Yeah.
You can go from the left side, the right side. You can go to the back. You can even drop down on top of the roof. They can come anywhere they want to.
Yeah.
But once you put that fence up, they can only come through the avenues in which you allow. If you put a fence up around that house, where's the only way they can come through?
Through the gate.
Through the front.
Yeah.
And if they're climbing over the fence, obviously you know it's a violation of my boundary. It's a violation of my boundaries that you're climbing over my fence. But we have to get into a space where we put the fence up. We put the boundaries up. And some of that takes some tools and that takes some space. So thank you for allowing me to give that example.
Oh, you're welcome. That's a good example. I like that. Something to remember. So from the list of the different types of bullies, which would you say that you have experienced the most as a child and as an adult?
Well, definitely physical, emotional. There's so many of them.
Yeah.
They can come in so many different forms.
Yeah.
And I think what you have to look out for is, how does it affect you? Like, because how emotional bullying one person may not affect you the same way it affects someone else.
Right.
And what is the reaction that you have when that comes up? Am I sad, or do I immediately go into a depression? And that kind of reveals areas of your life where you have things that you might have stored up. Some things that are below the surface, like you said, the snowball effect. Some things that you suppressed in order to get through your daily life. It could be any of the things that you have. And then some of the things that on that list, and you got to list some stuff out, and I can point some more stuff out, but there's quite a few that kind of go together. Yeah. They kind of go together, because the whole purpose of bullying is to manipulate a person into a person, place, or thing the way that we want you to. And when you don't, then I need to manipulate that situation in order to get you to do what I want you to do. Yeah.
That's very true.
It happens in relationships too.
Yes, absolutely.
Men and women have bullied each other and pushed each other into places just because we're used to having things the way that we want. Yeah. And if we're not careful, we'll find ourselves bullying our loved one into spaces that they're not authentic and they're not being genuine about. And we push them into a place where we want them to look like the version of what we want them to look like, but that's not the authentic version of themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I can't stand while you were talking, one thing that I can't stand is when I hear a man or a woman say, I have to train them.
I've heard it.
Not like that. If you got to train them, leave them alone, because they are not a dog. They are not an animal. And if you can't accept them the way they already are, then leave them alone, because you're going to make their life a living hell. So don't do that. You don't need to train nobody. Just accept people and love them the way they are, or just leave them alone. It's just that simple.
And I think in the process of that, in the process of learning how to love a person, you will sacrifice things in yourself to become a better mate for that person. Yes. And I don't believe the 50-50. I believe 100%. Yes. But I think over time, couples start to look alike and act alike. It's because they learn how to navigate spaces together. Yeah. How to compromise, how to give. And that is a lost language nowadays, because everybody's pointing the finger. And meanwhile, everybody's pointing the finger. We're not having any type of productive conversation about how to move together. Yeah. Instead, we've demonized each other. Yeah. And so there's a lot of rhetoric on both sides that is harmful to healthy relationships. So.
Yeah. So have you worked in reunification cases?
Absolutely.
Parent and child?
Yes. So
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Finish your question. I'm sorry.
So how was that for them? Were you able to make it work between them? Did you have like a certain focus to reunify them? Um, and did it work? Whatever your focus was, for them to be reunified, did that work?
So I learned a couple of things when I was in permanency clinic and doing reintegration. I learned, first of all, people can't be forced into trying to change. And so sometimes these court cases are mandated by the judge
Mm-hmm.
because there's some issues and stuff in the home. But then the parent, because they're being forced, hold on, let me plug in real quick so I don't have any issues. Don't want no issues. Okay, so no. So where was I? Oh, yeah. So because the judge is forcing these parents to try to change, they automatically resist. And if they see you as an extension of the court system, then you're not going to be able to really create a bond and enough to even start dealing with some of the issues that you're seeing, right?
Yeah.
So I can have conversations with them, but the process of trying to bond with that client, the parent, is already starting off rocky because they see you part of a system that put itself inside its home, and there was nothing wrong. We had no issues, and here you are in my face talking to me about what I need to change, and you don't know me, and it's pretty common. So that's the initial barrier. So once they meet me and they're like, you know what, that Terry dude, he pretty cool, he pretty calm. And I let them know I'm not here to change you. I'm here to have a conversation about what the perceived issues are. And we can learn, we can pick some tools up, and you can become a better parent because you want to, and not because the courts want you to, not because other case managers and these people want you to change. It's because you want to become a better parent. It's because you want to have a healthy relationship with your child, and because you want to, and you acknowledge, and you're ready to take some type of accountability that I may not have done everything the way that I was supposed to. And that's, we have to give ourselves some grace. But along with grace comes some accountability. So if you're not willing to be accountable, then most of this stuff, these conversations that are had, are for naught. Because at the end of it, you're still telling me you didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
That if everybody just get out of your business, you and your child will go back to living a happy life. But then there's, on the other side, you have the child saying, but mom, you beat me with the pot. You hit me. You put your cigarettes out of my arm. Or the kids manifesting behavioral things where they're cutting themselves because of the stuff going on. So to answer your question, it's kind of a complex system. I've been very successful because, first of all, I'm genuine. I've been in very dark places, and I've been able to crawl myself out and dig out by the grace of God. And because of that, I'm able to see hope in places where other people have dismissed people and have said that they don't have any worth. So first of all, I have compassion and empathy for the person, individual. And because of that, we can start trying to build on something productive and talk about the issues. That's so lengthy answer, but.
No, that's a good answer though. So when it comes to, say parents are going through divorce, and one parent has the child, well, I'll just say, and parental alienation enters. And so the parent that has been left out of the situation and the child's been coached by the main parent. So now say the father has been alienated from his child, and so now they're having to have reunification therapy. But on the other hand, we're dealing with the mom, being a narcissist, and coaching the child against the father. So how do you how would you recommend, or what tips can you give to help in that kind of situation? Because it seems like people on the outside don't really see what's going on, when clearly, I mean, you know, the therapist is hearing, things come from the child that they know the child should not know and should not be aware of, but they won't address that. So how would you, what tips can you give to the father that's experiencing that, so now the child is not, they don't have a good relationship because of, the child having a narcissistic parent
Mm-hmm.
catering to that out of fear,
Okay. So you asked me a pretty complex question. So I wanna kind of dissect that a little bit. First
Okay.
of all, let's get rid of the labels. Let's get rid of the narcissistic mom label. Then just put the mom and the dad in a space where there's a child. And then let's talk about where the issues are. So the mom is saying things to the child that's not true, that is
Right.
causing an alienation of the father. Now
Yeah.
that's a lot of trauma for the father. I've actually experienced this myself, and it does cause some trauma with the man. A lot of people don't really understand how hurtful that can be for a father that wants to be a part of the kid's life, to not be able to engage and do for his child outside of just sending some money. There's actually a lot of, and I want to address this. I want to throw this in there, that there's a study that has been done, and Black fathers have been leading the ranks as far as engagement with their children. And there's a narrative that Black fathers don't engage with their children, which is a lie. And so you have to look at your sources, but this is a CDC study that shows that Black fathers have been in the forefront more so than their counterparts, their other of races from other counterparts. And so I wanted to throw that out there first. So once we understand that the father is actually trying to engage with the kid, and the mother is doing things that alienate the child from him. There's a
Yeah.
couple of things that when this was happening to me, it it really does elicit an emotional response on the father, to where you actually, if you're not careful, you'll go do something stupid and cause yourself to be in trouble, in jail, or have a record, or get involved with the police over some altercations with this person. So I would say this: first of all, we need to identify what the issues are, and then we have to start documenting what's going on in the home. So if he's going to see the kid and he can't see the kid, then document that. If he's calling and the phone is being sent to voicemail, he needs to document that, because if you don't document it, it doesn't happen.
Right.
So before you go to the judge and cry out and say that I'm being wronged, and there's stuff that needs to be done to fix my relationship, and he says, well, what happens? And you're like, well, this one time 2 weeks ago, she hung up on the phone when I was talking to my daughter. That's not going to be significant enough to get the change that you want. So I think that the person and the father that's dealing with this also should have some type of support system to help him work through this, so that he doesn't go do something that's ignorant, that puts him in a place where the mom gets to laugh at him going to jail or doing something that he's not supposed to. So
Right.
I'll start off by saying he needs a support system, whether it's a therapist or whether it's a good friend. And I'm biased because I'm gonna throw therapy in there, but whatever that support system is, he needs his village to come help him. And then, so the biggest part of that has to be worked out in the courts. And so he has to get him an attorney. And so that's the biggest part of documenting, making sure that he has a support system. And then when he goes before the judge, he's able to show these things. And this is either way, because there are fathers that have kept children away from the women as well. It's hurtful either way. The kids are the ones who suffer in this madness, and I've seen it, and it's very sad to watch. It's very heartbreaking, because the kid is being denied a healthy relationship with the parent that wants to be engaged.
Right.
And that's a sad deal. And so there is no one size fits all solution for your question, but those three things are going to be very pivotal in getting some type of results. And then what I would also suggest is, besides the documenting, is, once you take it before the judge, that you have your request and the things that you want, so that you're not going in there with some lofty ideas of what you think this is. And then he's going to have to also, and this is a big thing because I had to go through this, you have to be careful how people treat you, that you don't allow yourself to go into a place of bitterness.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, forgiveness is important.
Yes, and I'm not saying you forgive them off the bat. You're really forgiving them for yourself. But what you're doing is you're allowing yourself to be in a place that's free of carrying something and also doing what was done to you. So if you're not in a place of maturity, and it's hard sometimes when people wrong you and they intentionally do things to put you on the out. But it requires, again, this is where the support system comes in, where it allows you to be into a place of regulation, and you won't go do something crazy because in the end, the right things will happen when you document, when you go before the judge. And for my brothers and sisters that went to the judge and it didn't happen right then, I would just encourage them to hold on and keep doing the right things, so that when things do kind of transpire the way they're supposed to, you'll be on the right way of things. Prayer, whatever, your support system, all these things help, and it's about getting you into the right place. There's one more thing I wanted to add. It'll come to me in a second, but I hope that answered your question.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. Great answer, great response, great tips. And we talk about documenting all the time when it comes to bullying. You have to document when you go to the person, or, document. Our time is up. Can you believe it?
Oh, no. I was having a good time. My wife say I talk too much, but in my profession, my grandpa said something that I remember even to this day. So I was very young when he died. He said there's two types of people. There's people who just want to say something, and then there's people who have something to say.
Wow.
And I've done the work behind the scenes that allows me to have conversations of substance, so that people see the genuineness when they talk to me. And it's because I really do have a heart for people, and I want to see them have healthy relationships. So no, I'm sorry that this is ending. We need a part two. We gotta have a part two. We gotta get Jeannie. Yes. We gotta get Jeannie.
Listen, don't say that and don't do it now, because we do have part twos. Because we be like, man, this conversation ain't over. So we are gonna have a part two.
Can I throw a quick plug in there? Let me throw a quick plug in there. I am also working with 3 other extraordinary Black men in a space called the Black Men's Locker. You can find them at blackmenlocker.com. We're on most platforms. And what we're doing is we have a safe space for Black men to come have conversations about mental health, about parenting alienation, about financial literacy, and the things that will allow us as Black men and minorities to become stronger fathers, husbands, and mates. And so I have to throw that in because we're also doing in February, we're going to do a men's conference in Wichita, Kansas. It's going to be huge. Some of the pouring out of men that are talking about, hey, this has really helped me. This really helped me get me through my day, through my week. I had nobody to talk to. I mean, we're getting so many different testimonials about it. I talked to a lady today, and she was talking about she's going to get her son and have her son come check the group out. Now, the main group is men only, but the podcast and some of the things that we're doing, we're putting resources out there for other people to engage in conversations with us as well. We don't want to leave them out, but we also need our safe space to be able to converse amongst each other in order to be better.
I love that. And thank you for putting the plug in, because that's very much needed. And people need to know where to go. So where can they go? I heard you say, tell them where they can find you, where they can, connect and get involved.
So the blackmenslocker.com is where you can reach us. We're on most platforms, Twitter, which is called X now, Facebook, Instagram, and some of these other ones. We usually have some type of presence there. Our biggest space is in Facebook. We have close to 11,700 men that are actively engaging and having conversations about what their mental health is. So I'm operating in that space. We have some exciting things that's getting ready to come. I'm so excited for what we have going on. God's allowing me to be used to speak life into these men, speak life into these homes. And this is just the beginning. We got great things loading. So.
Wow. Yeah, we are going to have a part 2. So stay tuned. Give us a few weeks. I mean, with the holidays, give us some time. We're going to have a part 2. And it might be next week. Just stay tuned. Watch out. We are at the end of our show. Terry, you have helped so much, provided such good information. We appreciate you, and we do look forward to doing.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
So take care. Y'all watch us next Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here, wherever you're watching us from. And we send you away with peace, love, and joy. Take care, and bye for now. Stay tuned for the outro video to see Gene and his band sing their first CD or video. We're ready, Mark.
Had become a common thing, but I have the faith to move a mountain. As you'll see, won't let you take it from me. No, 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 no. Won't let you take it from me. No, 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 no. Won't let you take it from me. No, 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 no. Won't let you take it from me. No, 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 no. Dark clouds, catastrophes and self-doubts, but I kept my head when I couldn't see how. My strength and will make me proud. Everything falls into place. Gotta take the risk, can't play it safe. Gotta have the faith to move a mountain. Then you'll be free. Won't let you take it from me. No, 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 no. Won't let you take it from me. No, 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 no. Cause to be the boss no more. Sun just clear sky. Decided to take control of my life. Now I'm not afraid to reach for those heights. Ain't no glass ceilings in sight. Take it from me. No, 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 no. Won't let you take it from me. No, 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 no. No, no, no. Won't let you take it from me. No, 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 no. Won't let you take it from me. No, 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 no. Won't let you take it from me. Won't let you take it from me. won't let you take it from me, won't let you take it.